I mean, just to go off of what you just said, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see Lincoln. I mean, yeah, everybody likes to see the West Coast offense. They like to see it all spread out. It's all exciting and stuff. But I mean, going into the Big Ten, going against different styles of defenses, bigger guys, I'd like to see him incorporate some more like 12 personnel or 22 personnel. I mean, I'm pretty interested to see if he ever works two tight ends on the field or even getting two running backs on the field.
Or 22 personnel. There you go. You solve both problems.
Christian, right. you hit on something there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Each of the past two seasons, we've seen one guy get the lion's share of carries, touches, and became the focal point of USC's running game. It was Travis Dye in 2022. It was Marshawn Lloyd last year. I'm really hoping this year that we begin to see a much more balanced running back room that's not centered around one guy. I know Woody Marks is probably going to get most of the touches, but I would really like to see Lincoln Riley and this offense get a lot of different guys involved so that you can have different attack points, different styles, and you have a lot of guys being fresh as we get into the teeth of the season. You know, Wisconsin on September 28th, Penn State October 12th. Then you have a Friday night game against Rutgers. And then the next week you have the game against Washington and Seattle. You will need different horses in the stable in that midsection of this Big Ten schedule. So I'm really intrigued to see how balanced Lincoln Riley can make this USC running back room. It really can't just be a 1A and then maybe a 1B. We need to have like 3 or 4 guys rotating and giving defenses a lot of different things to think about.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's going to be a big opportunity for that. And I don't think it's going to be running back by committee because they don't have a guy. I think it's going to be that way because they have so many guys. Like, I mean, I could see Woody getting the most carries, but I could also see Joyner walking away at the end of the year with the most yards or most touchdowns, and then also getting the big bruiser freshman incorporated as well. I mean, he almost looks like an NFL body already. So
you're talking about Brian.
I wouldn't be surprised if they mixed all those guys in there.
You're talking about Brian Jackson. But you know, the cool thing is, and then Amarian Peterson's kind of a combination of Quentin Joyner and Brian Jackson. I mean, all three of those backs are not small. The guys from Texas are not small. Woody Marks, again, I'll say it for those of you guys haven't heard me. I mean, the guy is 5th all time in receptions in the SEC. He's the all-time reception leader for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So talk about a weapon. Talk about a versatile third down. Talk about your prototypical third down back who just as easy could take a draw play or just kind of leak out and you could drop it off to him or a wheel route or whatever. I mean, the guy has hands. If you're playing NCAA, if you're playing college football 25, that would be. I mean, I like to call him Woody Palmer because he's wearing the number 3 and not number 4 and. It's not his name, but kind of weird that. But Woody Palmer is by far wheel route all day long in that game. By the way, if you're playing, if you haven't checked it out, since we're talking about running backs, go check out Trojan Blades running back review. He went into it and he talked about how, like, you just kind of broke it down. You know, you got that all-purpose back.
Oh yeah.
In Woody Marks, you have. A guy like Quentin Joyner, who just is an explosive play waiting to happen anytime he touches the ball. Brian Jackson, the freshman that you referenced, is just that bruising power guy. So you might have that. You might have Quentin Joyner as that guy who's probably getting the most carries, but that you do have Joyner with the most yards, and maybe you might have Brian Jackson with the most touchdowns, or maybe Amarian Peterson fools us all and he leads the team in touchdowns. We really don't know. I mean. They only have 4 backs, but they're 4 backs that are solid that I'd be more than comfortable with any one of those 4 backs starting on Saturday. So another great room. And so as we sit here and we talk about, which coaches we want to keep and which coaches we want to get rid of, forgetting about, Anthony Jones Jr., not bringing him up, so the outlook for USC is good. What we could do in year 1, we'll find out. How quick the install on defense, especially when we have 2 of our toughest games in the first 3 games of the season, that's going to play itself out. But overall, I mean, you're talking about a coaching staff and a young group of kids that are joining some veteran transfers and a solid basis for a team. Anyone that doesn't think this team can go 10-2, I think is fooling themselves. Anyone thinking they can't go 8-4 is also fooling themselves.
Definitely. I'm leaning more towards a better record. I'm thinking 10-2 is definitely possible. And everybody's always scared about the Michigan matchup, but I'm just looking at who they're returning. I mean, yeah, I think they have a good defensive line. They have a nice running back, but they lost pretty much everybody else.
Well, their defense is
they do have the top corner. They have the top corner in the country. They got a good defensive line.
They got Grant.
But, returning talent. They have I think the 7th least in college football.
The thing with Michigan that I'm looking at is going to be the quarterback situation. If Alex Orji is a competent quarterback with his arm, because he's going to hurt you with his legs. But if he can make those, if Alex Orji can hit those intermediate passes, they're going to be just fine. He gives them that his ability to run the ball, and they're going to dedicate themselves to running the ball. I mean, it might listen. This isn't Jim Harbaugh, who was a quarterback, right? Now you're moving over to Sharon Moore, who's a defensive line coach. Maybe what do defensive line like to do? They like to pin their ears back and run the ball. This is Michigan we're talking about. You got a great running back. There are some issues, I think, there's some question marks. I say issues. There's some question marks on there, like you said, as far as the returning players on the offensive line. But they have the makings to have a solid offense if Alex Orji can be accurate with his short to intermediate passes. He's got a huge cannon. I mean, and sometimes I don't expect a long ball from him, but if he could do those two things, if he could pick up that 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11 once in a while when you need it, they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. And defensively, you're under. I think you might be underselling them. They are going to be a hell of a challenge on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, that's probably one of the better front sevens we've played.
I definitely acknowledge that they have probably the best defensive lineman and corner in the country, but I mean, yeah, I know that they also have a pretty good depth on the defensive line, but I mean, other than that, I mean, they have a little bit of talent returning at linebacker that got some reps, but I mean, I think 4 of their starters are returning on defense, and then they're returning a tight end on offense.
Yeah, no, they absolutely, but
also Donovan Edwards did get a lot of reps.
And remember, Donovan is a great back. Just watch the Ohio State game if you want to know what Donovan Edwards can do to a team. But
oh yeah, no, he's crazy.
Just remember, they've been building something, and this is why you give a coach time. You don't pull the plug after 1 or 2 years. You don't listen to Paul Feinbaum who's calling for Harbaugh to be fired. They built depth there, and they may not be top-ranked recruiting classes, but they developed depth there. And so, do I know that they have quality depth? Do I know they have playoff level depth pieces behind them? No, but I'm not going to write it off just because that they lost some starters, that the guys that weren't backing them up. Because remember, you could still be a great. Look at Matt Castle for the Trojans. He never played a meaningful snap at USC.
Third man up,
right? So you never know who's going to roll in after. I mean, we kept thinking every year, oh, Carson Palmer's gone. Oh, great, Carson's gone. Who's this Leinart kid? Right? He comes in. Oh, Leinert's gone. Who's this Booty guy? Oh, Booty's gone. Who's this Sanchez guy? We just kept rolling guys out. There's nothing to say that obviously they can or they can't, but I wouldn't count out their depth at all. And I've heard from Michigan guys that they feel pretty confident about their depth.